Well, as you can tell, we will have it all covered for you as it's finally Zion time. He makes his long-awaited NBA debut tonight in New Orleans against the Spurs, of course. He had surgery on October 21st to repair the meniscus in his right knee. He spoke Tuesday about his recovery process.
There was a lot of times when I just wanted to punch a wall or kick chairs because it's frustrating to not be able to move your body the way you want to, not to make any athletic movements. I mean, it's tough. I've been working on my landing a lot. Not landing straight legs, don't let all my forces go into my legs. It's a lot of technical stuff. I really couldn't explain it to you, to be honest. Honestly, I don't know if I'm gonna get sleep. I'm gonna be too excited thinking about my first NBA game.
Yeah, the excitement's undeniable for all of us. But, Jay Rose, when you hear Zion talking about reinventing the way that he's going to land, doing these technical things to try to prevent injury, what comes to mind for you?
Longevity. You want this young man to preserve himself as much as possible, and I'm really enthusiastic he's going to make his dynamic debut tonight. And the other thing that's happening in New Orleans is this allowed Brandon Ingram to ascend.
Yes.
So now all of a sudden they have a dynamic duo with a guy that's averaging 25-plus points, playing at an all-star level. Now you get the #1 overall pick returning to your lineup. 4 games out of the A spot. Jay Will feels like they have what it takes to make the playoffs. I don't think so because they got too many teams to leapfrog, but it's great for the league to Zion is return.
No, I think it's amazing, and I love what he talks about changing his landing. There are simple things that you can do, hanging on the rim a little bit more and not just all the sexy. You know, when you go straight down, you're just trying to show off a little bit. So when he's talking about, like here, sorry Frank Kaminsky has to be the example, but here, I land, I can hold onto the rim here. Yes, Ryan Clark's upset that I get to use myself in the highlight, but that's what happens as a basketball player.
How dare you.
Right? But that one leg right there, my leg was throbbing for days afterwards in that moment.
Jay, is this realistic that he can make this change on the fly? I mean, you're out there on the court, you're trying to make plays, you're going to be able to think in your head, I'm going to land a different way?
Well, in real time, it's going to be very challenging. It's going to be arduous for him. And look, this is a team that has the 6th fastest pace in the NBA. And let's not forget that Zion gets a lot of his points in transition and off getting rebounds, right? Things that require him to be athletically gifted the way he is. So he has a chance to be in compromising positions. You hope that he gets lucky enough not to get injured the rest of the season.
But here's what I love about Zion that I don't want people to overlook. He's going to do all of the hustle plays.
Yes.
He's going to dive for loose balls. He's going to get
Yes.
steals. He's going to get blocked shots. He's going to be an enthusiastic teammate. He's going to be an exciting player for a long time.
Yeah, and to your longevity point, there are things that you can do, but the #1 thing, forget training and forget how you land, you gotta lose weight. He's got to slim down. That's got to be his primary focus from the day he wakes up, or from the moment he wakes up to the moment he goes to bed.
And Ryan Clark dunks like that all the time, just on 4-foot rims.
Yeah, well, 4 foot, maybe 3.5 foot.
3.5?
Either way, we're going to
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
on these wagers. Get to that debut of Zion, long awaited, tonight in New Orleans against the Spurs. He had surgery on October 21st to repair the meniscus in his right knee, and he spoke Tuesday about his recovery process.
There was a lot of times when I just wanted to punch a wall or kick chairs because it's frustrating to not be able to move your body the way you want to, not to make any athletic movements. I mean, it's tough. I've been working on my landing a lot. Not landing straight legs, don't let all my forces go into my legs. It's a lot of technical stuff. I really couldn't explain it to you, to be honest. Honestly, I don't know if I'm gonna get sleep. I'm gonna be too excited thinking about my first NBA game.
All right, so Zion talking about ways that he's going to change his landing, what's going to happen. Listen, we're going to get to you in a second, but I do want to go to you first, RJ, because you can relate to this and what it's like to have that impact on your body when landing from dunking.
Well, and this is the thing, when people say, well, how's he going to change? It's more of simple things, like hanging on the rim a little bit longer, right? Slowing down your force coming down. When he talks about landing straight-legged, I had a situation where you see here on this lob, watch, I catch it. I could hang on the rim. I could hang on the rim there, but instead I come down with all of my force. You see this on my leg, and it's straight down. I'm sorry, Frank. We're just using you. But I'm saying that my leg was literally throbbing for days after that, and I'm 6'7", 235 pounds. If you talk about 290 pounds coming down on your one leg, that was a simple thing where I could have just held onto the rim, hold onto it, and keep it going. That can slow down the amount of wear and tear he has on his knees.
I think that's my point exactly. That's why you just have to pray and hope that everything's going to be okay for him. Because realistically, when you're saying that reasonably, it sounds great. But when you're in the middle of a game and your adrenaline hype is so much, Yeah, you're trying to catch somebody. You're not automatically thinking, here I go up for a dunk. Let me worry about my landing. You're worried about trying to bang it or finish it. And that's where the increase of risk to another injury is potentially there for Zion. So, look, luck factors into a lot of things when players play. And I hope for Zion that he has a 15-year career. But it's going to take some luck for that to happen if he attacks the rim the way he does.
I would add to this conversation that, yes, in the highlights, all we see is the dunking because the dunking is spectacular. But he uses that kind of explosive force on his knees all the time. That's what makes him so special and unique. And you can't reteach a person to move at the age of 19 or 20. I just don't think that's realistic.
I agree, not in 2 or 3 months. And here, the 6th fastest pace in the league. And Zion doesn't need the ball to be effective, but he gets you rebounds and he gets you points in transition. That's when he's going to be at the highest risk.
And I agree with you. And Greeny, to your point, you're saying you can't change how someone, but if you can decrease it by 20%. It's like, yo, when you're on a transition, we understand the 360s. We understand that. You saw he did a 360 dunk, and as he's landing, he's straight up and down ready to scream and yell. All of those things are fine and dandy, but ultimately, you have to use some intelligence, right? Like if you're a baseball player and your arm is here versus your arm is there, that's the difference between Tommy John. You have to learn some of these skills to decrease the stress on your body if you're a professional.
So obviously, they're going to manage this to make sure that his minutes are not too much for him and all of that. But as a coaching staff, and maybe if you're trying to make a run for the playoffs here, which the Pelicans could, how do you try and balance? Yeah, so how do you balance that?
Well, it's like a pitch count. I think Zion has momentum. Like, you know, a lot of people forget about that, just the momentum that he brings to the table. Drew Holiday is back. He's playing at a great level. Lonzo Ball is playing the best basketball of his career. Brandon Ingram is an all-star level right now. So if you get the energy of Zion, that will give them a chance.
Why were you shaking your head, RJ?
I'm shaking my head because this is not the individual that you want to push to try and make the postseason.
Yeah.
If he's going to play you 15 minutes, 20 minutes a night, just to allow his body to acclimate to the rigors of the NBA, that's fine. But I'm not pushing him one more minute to try and make the postseason. Just get a pick. He's 19 years old.
That might be all you need, though, RJ. You might only need 20 minutes from Zion with the way everybody else is playing, if they can sustain that, for them to make a legitimate playoff run.
Yeah, you might. I'm going to say no. I think that 8th spot's going to go to somebody else other than them, so there's no need to even push it to that
subjective.
The point is, these are just terrible considerations to be having about someone that you just drafted number 1 overall, right? I mean, it is really unfortunate that we're trying to this young man is trying to relearn how he sort of athletically does everything that he does. This is not a good situation.
Greeny, I agree. And all things being said, knowing everything that they know with Ja Morant, you're still taking him number 1.
Yeah, I would
still
too.
taking him number
All right,
1.
tonight we finally get to see it right here on ESPN.
Zion for Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks. It was also a welcome back for the one and only Kristaps Porzingis here in his first action in the last 10 games because of right knee soreness, but it wasn't all good news for the Mavs. Dwight Powell, the 28-year-old critical role player for the team, part of the Mavs culture. He crashes to the ground without any contact. He would not return to the game with a right Achilles injury. Coach Rick Carlisle saying an MRI test today will determine the extent of the injury, saying he fears it to be severe. As for the Clippers, Kawhi dominating, meticulously picking apart Dallas here. Getting that 3 then. Leonard beats his man down the floor. And look at this beauty. Over Luka Doncic plus a foul. The refs actually call a foul on Luka, but Kawhi actually hits Luka in the face. The Clippers take a 60-49 lead into the half. So under 2 minutes to go in the fourth. Clippers were up by 5. Kawhi. Jab steps, Max. Kleber then hits the 3. Come on, his 6th straight game with at least 30 points. He was showing some emotion because he was saying that when you play against Luka Doncic and the Mavericks, it is actually fun. 1:15 to go, Dallas down 8. Luka,
Oh, let's go.
So we have a 5-point game. So under 30 seconds left, Finney Smith drives baseline and Kleber, dunk. So back to a 1-possession game, 24 seconds left. Landry Shamit's pass, intercepted. Mavericks coming the other way. Doncic, open.
Get it,
yes.
No.
So Tim Hardaway Jr. for the 3, but he misses. Mavs have to foul. And you're maybe thinking, why didn't Luka take it? Well, Luka, 32.9% three-point shooter. Hardaway Jr., 39.1 three-point shooter. So Leonard would finish with 36 points. Tim Legler, your thoughts on Luka not taking that shot?
I'm surprised that Luka Doncic turned that one down with about 10, 12, 15 feet of space on that catch. I know he wasn't feeling it from the three-point line, and he's a 32.3-point shooter, but this is a guy that feels like he's going to trust himself more than anybody else in that situation. So I am surprised he didn't take that shot, and as a result, Mavericks don't get a look at the end. Clippers get a stop, and they get a great win on the road.
So Tim Hardaway Jr. misses on the wide-open three. That could have tied the game against the Clippers. Dallas is now 0 for 16 on potential game-tying or go-ahead shots in the final 30 seconds this season. The only team without a make.